A two-year starter on the Round Rock High School football team, Clay Madsen caught this touchdown pass in a playoff game last November. By January, after complaining of soreness in his ribs, the 17-year-old high school junior was diagnosed with nerve cancer and had surgery to remove the tumor and 5 of his ribs.
It scared me. From the biopsy they obtained a pretty bad diagnosis. They thought I had bone cancer, which is real fatal. And it really scared me before surgery, but after surgery they explained it to me, and it made it a lot easier to deal with.
Clay can only watch now, but Clay has his own victory in mind.
I've gotten a lot weaker just from the treatment and the surgery. I've lost a lot of weight, but my goal is to play football next year and return and play baseball.
Clay was an outstanding kid, a wonderful son, a good student, loved baseball. We were training him up to play baseball, and football came into his career in high school, and he absolutely loved football.
Yeah, Clay was, he was a typical boy. He did all the things young men did, but people I think were drawn to him because he always had something good to say about everybody. Well, I can just remember Clay always picking people up. He was always an encourager. That's how I remember Clay, because he was an encourager to Nancy and I as he battled the cancer over the 2 years.
Clay had come home from skiing, and he had felt this lump on his chest. I remember he got home from that ski trip and he came over that night, but he had my dad feel his chest, and my dad had, and I was in the living room, and when he felt his chest, Dad had said, yeah, you need to, I think this is something you need to get seen about. And his attitude, golly, was still, even though he might have known there was something bigger than what we all knew, I always want to think, oh man, it's nothing. And then it was the next day, he went to the doctor, and sure enough, they said, yeah, we need to see about this.
I'm thinking about a time that Dr. Lynn Russell was the superintendent of schools, and Dr. Russell stopped Clay one time in the hall and said, Clay, I'm really praying for you, as Clay was dealing with the cancer. And Clay looked right at him and he said, Dr. Russell, I've been praying for you for a long time. So that's just the kind of kid that he was.
It's kind of opened my eyes and just let me look at life in a different perspective. The best thing it's done is brought me closer to my loved ones. I don't consider myself special. I just wanted to help out the team and just try to be an example of how if you just keep on fighting, that you can't let anything get you down.
Chemotherapy robbed Clay of his hair, and earlier this week, as a show of support for his battle with cancer, many of Clay's teammates shaved their heads.
About shaving of the heads, I remember we did it over at Brandon and Blake Starring's house. And I left my house that afternoon, and I told my mom and dad that I was going to shave my head, and she did not want me to mess with my hair. Well, about an hour and a half later, I came home and I was bald, so.
People that I don't even know that went to high school with him are coming up to me telling me these great stories of how he helped them with homework, or how they were not so popular at Round Rock High School, and he was always the first one to go meet them and greet them and introduce them to people.
Well, Clay thought that he had been healed twice once they diagnosed the cancer and he had chemotherapy. The chemotherapy was very difficult, and my heart goes out to those families now that are going through that same stage of the fight that we were in the middle of.
And he couldn't play football, and he couldn't play baseball, and the community rallying around him, and then he comes back and you see those video clips of him succeeding and winning. It's really cool.
He thought he had been cured, but just before the season started, Madsen got more bad news.
Another little growth formed on my left lung this time. It was about the size of a silver dollar.
That growth was removed, and Madsen was facing more chemotherapy. But number 82 battled back, and this time he made it back all the way to the playing field. Against Copper's Cove, Clay Madsen started and caught 2 passes.
Clay, and it's just an inspiration. You know, you look at him and you get chills down your spine, you know. And it's just amazing what he's been through, and it's brought us closer together. We play for him, and, you know, you look at him on the sidelines, and, you know, it's amazing. It's unreal. It's hard, you know, you can't put it into words.
Clay died yesterday morning at the age of 19. It is to his memory that the Dragons dedicate the effort of this evening's game. Clay Madsen.
It was Round Rock's biggest game in 20 years, but the players could only think about Clay. When Reggie Taylor scored the first touchdown, he pointed the ball skyward.
He had God in his life first. And with God, we know he's in heaven right now, and we know he had the best seat in the house. We seen him, we felt him out here.
Coach Perez retired Clay's uniform number. No one will ever wear number 82 at Round Rock again. Our condolences to Clay's family and all of his many, many friends in Round Rock.
Probably that first year after Clay passed away, they did the first fundraiser. So I could just name on down a list of kids that came together and put that first golf tournament together. And in the second year, I can remember they helped a young girl. I think she was over at Stony Point. She was a majorette, and she had cancer and had actually lost a leg. And the money that they provided her helped provide a prosthesis for her. But then the young kids, it just breaks your heart when you see these young kids, the 4, 5, 6, and 7, and 8-year-olds, and the moms. The moms have to a lot of times quit their job just to be able to get the kid to be caretakers for the kids and get them to the doctor's appointments and everything. So I've seen the foundation just come in and help these families financially to keep them going and just to lift one less burden off of their shoulders.
Clay was my older brother. He passed away 25 years ago. I was 14 at the time he passed away. So I'm very passionate about this because I've actually lived having a sibling have cancer and be sick and watching my family struggle financially, emotionally, and just being able to be there for these families any way we can, not just financially, but emotionally, meeting with them, going to treatments, just becoming a part of the family. It's really important to me. I first go in and we get the application from the families, and we call them and ask to meet in their homes and get to meet the parents and the siblings and just spend a few hours talking to them about the foundation and what we can do for them and ask them what their needs might be. And then it just turns into a friendship, a family. Just kind of like what the community did for my family when Clay was sick. Do they need dinners? Do they need, someone to go to the grocery store for them, someone to help watch their other children? It's not just giving them money for any kind of financial need they have, it's also some kind of support emotionally.
The foundation now is just reaching out to so many families and doing such a great job. Nancy and I do not do much. We kind of said, we're going to kind of stay in the background on this, just to see these young people just take this on year after year and do such a great job with it. It's just amazing. I'm just blown away.
Before we had children, I was a planner and a saver. I would tuck away every penny we had. I busted my butt to make sure we had a great future financially. And when DJ was diagnosed and we both, we didn't lose our jobs, but we both stopped working. And we were running out of money. Like all of our savings was dwindling, and we went to go get help from the state because we're both not working. And we were told we had too much in assets. The state said we can't help you. And so we were going to lose everything. And I was so afraid that if we couldn't pay bills, that DJ was going to stop getting treatment. Nobody was there to tell me, if you don't pay them, they're still going to give him chemo. They're still going to help him. So we took out credit cards. Financially, it has devastated us. I'm grateful for our family who has taken us on and helped support us to this day as we try and climb our way out of debt. Money should never be the thing you worry about the most when your kid's diagnosed. But when Clay Madsen comes in and says, we know what you're going through, let us help the only way we know how, and they give you funds to apply to whatever you need, it lifts a burden. It creates like this little ray of sunshine, like, it just makes everything just that tiny bit easier.
Alexis was diagnosed in January 5th of 2017 this year. She was diagnosed with leukemia, ALL. Well, the first day that she actually had to go to the clinic was like the hardest. Having to see them put the port in, having to give her the medicine.
For me, when I when I got cancer, I went to the children's hospital. They had to poke me with a needle right here on my arm.
Eileen was the same. She was diagnosed in January 23rd, and the same with leukemia, but hers is kind of like the adult type of leukemia. Also the same thing. Mom was kind of concerned about her bruises and stuff that she had on her legs, but they wouldn't tell her exactly what was it until they refer her to the hospital, and that's where they gave them the news that she also had cancer.
We first met at the clinic when Deanna told us that there's another person here that has the same thing as me, so she showed me. So Deanna also told me that Alexis could help me with the pokes, and what Alexis told me helped a lot. I don't know how to thank her a lot. She's a really good friend.
Oh. Yeah, we've been supporting each other. That's why when she kind of came and told me, you know what, we have this issue and this, and I kept on telling her, I was like, there's this foundation that helped me a lot. Like, it's helping me a lot. You need to do it. And she was so afraid. She didn't want to do it. I had to beg her and beg her. I was like, have you sent it? I can take you. I can send it for you. I can help you to do this. I tell her all the time, hey, I'm here. I know what you're going through. We're going through this together, and we all have kids, and if you ever need anything, I'm down the street. We're down the street.
I want to thank the foundation for all that help, and my parents were able to throw me my 10th birthday party, and like 2 weeks ago I received good news from my doctor. She told us that I had no more leukemia, and I was so happy.
It felt right. It felt like the old Round Rock where everybody knew everybody and there were 2 degrees of separation, and we were able to make a direct impact in the community that we grew up and love. So many of our opportunities, you know, to support good causes are much, much larger and far more reaching, you know, beyond the bounds of Round Rock or even Austin, and to be able to do something that's so local and so impactful. I mean, it was just a truly very exciting opportunity for us to be a part of.
The survivors and the families, those are the true local heroes. What we do is so minor to it. And so Amanda and I talked about it, and we love the organization and we support it 100%, and we ask anybody else to support it.
I mean, when you're looking at the foundation, how can you not see the strength and the perseverance that all these families are going through and what they're able to accomplish and what the foundation's able to accomplish? And to that point, it's local. These are our neighbors.
Around our community has been touched by this even 25 years later, and they continue to give. Just think we live in a really great community. I'm glad to be from Round Rock, and I'm glad to be back here. I think the only thing I can really do is keep his memory alive with the family and the community, and I definitely know that he's very proud that we're doing this. This is exactly what he would have wanted us to do in his memory.
If I could tell someone something, I'd tell them to live their life to the fullest, because I mean, something like this can just wipe it out just like that. I mean, once they diagnose it, I mean, you're not in control. You just gotta do what the doctors say and just believe in yourself and believe in God. I mean, you just gotta go live it day by day.